Hey Roosters, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about some of the new cards that were just revealed for the Star Wars Unlimited Trading Card game and their newest set, which is going to be, I believe it's called Shadows of the Galaxy. So this is a new set coming out. Obviously we had the set 1, Spark of the Rebellion, but now we're getting into Shadow of the Galaxy. And so FFG has started off the reveal season with some reveals from the starter deck that's going to be coming up. And so we got some looks at some of the new leader cards and things like this. One we're going to be looking at right now is going to be the first one they actually revealed, Moff Gideon. So, Moff Gideon, what does he have? He's first of command and villainous. He has the Imperial and official keyword traits. He has an action, exhaust him, attack with a unit that costs 3 or less, and if it's an attacking another unit, it gets +1 power for that attack. Now, obviously, this ability doesn't light the world on fire, very reminiscent of IG-88 from the original set, which is, it has its uses, obviously. It's +1 power is going to be +1 damage no matter how you slice it. It has efficient uses, but it's not always going to become relevant in the sense that it's not always going to just say, okay, well, I did +1 damage, I'm going to knock off kill your opponent now, I'm going to kill your base, I'm going to win the game, right? Sometimes it's not going to matter in that instance, but of course, 1 damage is 1 damage. It can build up over time and maybe end up being the thing that wins you the game. Okay, so then he has an epic action as all leaders do. If you control 5 or more resources, you can deploy him as a leader, and when you leader unit that is. So when you do that, he becomes a 3/6 with the overwhelm keyword. If you don't know what that does, when you're attacking an enemy unit, if you deal excess damage you deal excess damage, basically the damage you deal to the unit's HP past the amount of HP it has, you deal that to the opponent's base. And then he has another ability. Each friendly unit that costs 3 or less gets +1 power, and it also gains Overwhelm as well. So there's obviously your game plan. You're making singular units that are cheaper, 3 or less, bigger, and you're trying to trample and stomp over your opponent. They revealed some certain cards that actually help you do that in the game. You have the Phase 3 Dark Trooper, 3 cost obviously, so it can work with Moff Gideon. 3/3 Sentinel, good ability. It's a droid Imperial Trooper. When combat damage is dealt to this unit, you can give him an experience token. So Moff Gideon's secondary sort of gimmick here, or rather the gimmick that you can sort of realize when you look at some of the other cards in his deck. And really the sort of Imperial Command gimmick is experience tokens. So if you don't know what experience token is, it's just a +1/+1 counter, +1 power, +1 HP. Another card we got to take a look at for the deck is going to be Gideon's Light Cruiser, 8 cost, really big, 7/8. It's an Imperial vehicle capital ship, Overwhelm. And then also, when you play it, if you control Moff Gideon, and that can be as a leader or as a unit, you can play a villainous card from your discard pile that costs 3 or less. Or it could also be from your hand or from your discard pile that costs 3 or less, and it's for free. So you can obviously get back out that Phase 3 Dark Trooper, but there's some other options not only that are in the first set, but also of course they're going to be showing up in the Shadows of the Galaxy set. Another card is an event card that's going to be in the starter deck for cost, calculated lethality. It's going to be vigilant and villainous, and it's going to have the ability to defeat a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less, and for each upgrade that was on that unit, give a experience token to a friendly unit. Now, there's some uses here to use this against your own units. Not obviously going to be the most efficient, but you can use it on your own units. And if they're really Christmas treed up with a bunch of different upgrades, then you can put a bunch of different experience tokens on another unit. And theoretically, you could technically use this again and again because experience tokens are an upgrade in that sense. And that's all the cards that we're getting for the villainous side of the starter deck. But another thing I want to say before we move on from this calculated lethality card is that when we look at the Mandalorian, his entire thing is putting upgrades on his own cards. So obviously, this card is meant to sort of counteract the Mandalorian's ability. So moving on from Moff Gideon, let's take a look at the Mandalorian himself. Pretty interesting. Mandalorian was one of the characters that are going to come out in the final set of Star Wars Destiny that I don't think ever got released. So it's pretty cool to see him now in Star Wars Unlimited, the next Star Wars card game. Okay, let's take a look. He is cunning and heroism. He has the Mandalorian and bounty hunter keywords. When you play an upgrade, you may also exhaust this leader, and if you do, exhaust an enemy unit with 4 or less remaining HP. This is obviously an ability that you want to play upgrades and you want to exhaust enemy units. Playing upgrades is something that Vigilance is usually good at, and this starter deck does have Cunning and Vigilance, and exhausting units is something that Cunning does. So obviously there's going to be a lot of synergy here from the first set as well as whatever cards we get in the new set. He's an epic action. If you control 6 or more resources, you can deploy him as a leader, and when you do, he becomes a 5 power, 7 HP unit. Mandalorian Bounty Hunter still. When you play an upgrade, you can exhaust an enemy unit with 6 or less HP, so it's the same essential ability, except you don't have to exhaust the Mandalorian, and also the HP requirement is higher. I like this design space they're getting into here with the remaining HP as an idea, because what it essentially means that is even the most powerful cards in the game will sometimes be it incentivizes you whittling them down so that you can then use different effects on them, and then it makes the ability just a little bit more wide ranging in its uses. So then after we move on from that, we can take a look at some of the cards that we're going to be getting in the starter deck itself, such as Grogu. Obviously, the Mandalorian can't be there without Grogu. It's sort of his whole thing. 2 cost, 0 power, Force keyword, and 5 HP. So obviously 5 HP is good for 2 cost, but 0 power is abysmal. But you're not meant to be attacking with this little guy. You're supposed to use his ability here, action, exhaust him, exhaust an enemy unit. Fits into the Mandalorian's game plan there. Then we have a spaceship, 4 cost, vigilance, heroism, because this deck is going to be a vigilance deck. 3 cost, 4 HP, Mandalorian vehicle and transport, restore 2. That means when it attacks, you can heal 2 from your base. And then also when you play it, you can return an upgrade from your discard pile to your hand. Again, this whole deck has 2 things, exhausting units and getting upgrades. So this is going to help you do that second thing. Which is pretty interesting looking at this card too, because it sort of mirrors the Mandalorian, something Fang, I can't remember its name, but it's a Mandalorian ship in the first set that discards upgrades. So I guess Mandalorians are going to be like sort of the upgrade faction, and messing and sort of dealing with that is going to be their thing. And then moving on to the next card that we took a look at here, it's going to be Wanted. It's going to be an upgrade, 0 cost, +0/+0, bounty and condition, but it's going to have an ability, attached unit gains bounty, ready 2 friendly resources. So essentially, bounty is an ability that activates when you defeat a unit with bounty, or when it's captured, which means something we're going to look at later in today's video, and assumingly a lot more in the rest of the set. So, let's take a look at how you can capture a unit, which is a special mechanic, and then also obviously when you defeat the unit, you get to ready 2 resources of your own. And now this is an upgrade obviously that is negative, because you don't want your characters to have a bounty. So I'm assuming that means you can play this upgrade on your opponent's characters. I wasn't really aware that you could do that in the original set. There was never really a reason to do that, but now it seems to be the case that you can, unless of course there has to be some special ability that allows you to do that. Anyway, the Mandalorian's rifle, 3 cost, +3 attack, +0 HP, is an item and a weapon attached to a non-vehicle unit. When you play it, if the attached unit is the Mandalorian, he captures an exhausted enemy unit, non-leader unit, and basically what that means is that when you capture a card, you put him face down under the card that captured them, until the card that captured them leaves play, and then I assume that they go back to where they came from. I can only assume that's the case, because or else there would be really no difference between defeating and capturing a unit. And that's going to be it for all the starter deck reveals. But we technically have one more reveal to look at, which is from the set proper. It's going to be the first legendary ever revealed in Star Wars Unlimited. It's going to be a Vigilance Heroism card, the Mandalorian. So it's very fitting that we talk about in today's video. 6 cost, 5/6 Mandalorian Bounty Hunter. He has Sentinel, and he has an ability. When you play him, you can heal all damage from a unit that costs 2 or less, and you give 2 shield tokens to it. So obviously the game plan here is you use this guy and you heal all damage from Grogu because he has a lot of HP. He has 5 HP, and then you go ahead and give 2 shield tokens to him, so he's gonna be able to survive for a good amount of time in the future, and to keep using that exhaust ability to exhaust him and exhaust an enemy unit. But obviously this has some other uses from other cards throughout the game, not just Grogu, and so you can use this to protect your little weaker characters with more utility abilities, or really just characters you want to stay around for a little bit and do some little ping chip damage. That's me for today's video, though. We're going to take a look. We just took a look at some of the cool Star Wars Unlimited cards from the newest set of the Star Wars Unlimited trading card game, Shadows of the Galaxy. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and go ahead and share it with your friends. Let them know that the new reveal season has officially started, and get hyped around the Star Wars Unlimited trading card game, and get hyped around Shadows of the Galaxy. Hope to see you guys in future reveal videos that we may do on the channel. Well, that's going to be all for now, but if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead and watch some of our other videos that we've made on this channel. Also, give this video a like if you thoroughly enjoyed it. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future content. And I hope to see you guys back at the Roost.